Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move. Aye.
At every regular meeting of the board, up to 60 minutes have been allotted for public comments. The board will not respond to public comments. However, a member may ask that the chair obtain clarification. Residents, parents, students, and employees of the district will receive priority on the list of speakers. If a speaker is not present when his or her name is called, the opportunity to speak will be considered waived. Only persons signed up may speak. Speakers may not give their time to another person or have someone speak on their behalf. Speakers may address the board for a maximum of 3 minutes. The board will not hear an open session, complaints about the performance of school personnel issues, confidential student issues. Should a speaker wish to seek information or share items that may not be shared during public comments, members of UCPS cabinet staff are available to address your concerns or provide information. Cabinet staff members are seated at the table to my left. Okay. Next up is Riley Green. Riley Green. Kylie, sorry. Sorry. Yes. What?
Are you ready? Thank you, sir. Okay. I had a whole speech planned out, but it is a little bit longer than the 3 minutes I have, so I'm just going to speak off the top of my mind. Hi, my name is Kylie Green. I am a 14-year-old Union County 4-H'er, and I'm here tonight representing Union County's homeschoolers. I'm going to be talking about bringing visibility and accessibility to Union County's public schools ag programs such as 4-H and FFA. For visibility, I mean publicity, such as partnering with a local news outlet, which will bring more of an audience to the chapters, or upping their game with their Instagram, TikTok, all their social media accounts. And with accessibility, I'm meaning to make it where homeschoolers can join these programs with meeting the state requirements of an ag class taught by an ag teacher. In many other states, such as Oregon, Utah, Iowa, Florida, they are capable of doing this. In other states and areas, they are able to enroll to specifically an agricultural education class and be able to join and participate in FFA. FFA has so many things that will help students with premier leadership, growth, life skills, teaching them trades, all of that stuff that they should be able to access, but they cannot. There are ways that homeschoolers can access FFA through online classes. However, it's not the same experience. It's online. They don't get to make those healthy relationships with fellow students and teachers. And one of the ways you can do it in North Carolina is by using North Dakota's Nelson Academy classes, which is an online curriculum. However, they are single semester classes and cost $359 per class. Regular FFA in schools does not cost that much. This is why I believe homeschoolers should be able to join these programs, obviously with the same requirements as in-school students. They will help with fundraisers. They will have to participate, everything, agricultural classes, whether online or in person, and they will have to show up for the stuff that all the other students have to. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Reggie McNeil.
So good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for an opportunity to share tonight. I'm grateful for our team and the youth that are here as well to support the program. The first, I'm here tonight to bring some awareness to community programs, us in particular, and bring that as an alternative opposed to delinquency. You all have the PowerPoint slide. I'm going to be flipping through, and so if nothing else, as you go through it, either have questions at the end, but at least allow for the 3 minutes. I appreciate. We exist to inspire positive social change and community transformation, currently funded by the Department of Public Safety, in addition to the local Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. We look to accomplish our mission in several ways. We've got 5 program types, but 4 I'm going to highlight. Community service program is one that connects our youth to civic engagement, in addition to pro-social and interest-based initiatives. We're trauma-informed, certified by the Trauma Resource Institute, and offer a wellness program. Our teen court is a diversion-focused program that helps youth get engaged and can be the spotlight for them going to alternative programming. Our vocational training program is a career readiness program focused on workforce development, in addition to shadowing ops, with youth getting an incentive of $725 when they complete our program. Each of our youth that comes to the program will get their own individualized service plans. They're going to be also focused on career goals, in addition to SMART goals. We help youth through specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-oriented goals, but also help them build themselves up through the awareness of things that could go wrong while they're on their career paths, etc. Our organization is really happy. We've been around for about 9 years. We developed software in addition to this at state level. Won't have time to share all that today, but we're hopeful that our software is going to be able to track our youth, in addition to anyone else that refers a youth to us, from the referral process through the intake process, their admittance process, all the way through the making progress piece. We've supported that data, and we've already protected it in a way where our youth have confidentiality. The referral source can make a referral, and then at the power palm palette of their hand can access their youth and find out what's happening to them through their progress, ultimately to the community programs or organizations that youth can get connected to. The hope will be your names will show up in our dashboard to highlight. It is important also to know that here in Union County last year, through a racial equity report card, it was highlighted that 49% of the juvenile delinquency complaints in the county were school related. We believe we can be an alternative program that will give youth an opportunity to participate in a restorative program as an alternative to the juvenile system. We believe we can best get there through our teen court if it's supported here. There's some simple phrase highlighted in your program there at the end of what simple phrase can look like, but highlighted by the next question will be that slide would be any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Next up is Clarice Autry. Did I say that right? Yes.
All right. Now, Clarice for short, and my name is Clarita Ashley.
Okay.
Spelled with 10 letters. So I use Clarice for short. Yes. Parents never did remember my name till they got angry. Then they remember I was Clarita then. The reason I'm here is I would like to know how many of you all was really born and raised in Union County, North Carolina, or raised in North Carolina, period. Okay, I can speak. I'm 68 years old now, and I'd like to know what is going to become of each Union school in Marshville, and what is going to become. I heard that Forest Hill is being rebuilt, and that's wonderful. But if Forest Hill is being rebuilt, and each Union is torn down, then Forest Hill name should be East Forest Hill. And also, I'd like to know if East Union is demolished or whatever, what is going to be put there. And if each Union can be saved, can it be turned into a technical school or training that the younger generation, once they do finish high school, If they decide they didn't want to go to college, they are getting training where maybe they could go into construction, they can go into the hospital field and work. You know, different things, just as an example. Maybe some of them could fill some of the jobs that's in the school system to a certain extent. You know, that's something to seriously think about. It's just like you got Job Corps in America. I can remember when I graduated high school in 1974, really, I didn't even know anything about it. The government sponsored a Job Corps, but they did. But anyway, I would like for the school board to seriously think about what are you all going to do with each union school located in Marshfield, North Carolina. And I graduated from there in 1974. It's been 50 years now. And also, I did go to Wingate College. I didn't graduate there, but I did go there for 7 years and lived on campus in the dormitory. Stayed on about 4.5 miles from the school, but I do know what it's like to have college background. And when I moved to Washington, D.C. for 20-something years, I got a job at USDA, and I retired from MedStar Washington Hospital Center. I worked burn trauma for 12 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, could I have a clarification, please? Correct me if I'm wrong, but if we are successful in the bond passing to refurbish the old Forest Hills and move East Union, that old property, if surplused, it would be the county's
But
responsibility.
we don't know about that right now, right?
What would happen to the
Yes,
old
we don't
building
know.
is not our responsibility.
Okay, well,
It
they're
is
the
our
county. I want to be pointing toward the county then or whatever. And I think a lot of us in Union County need to speak up. Think about it. A lot of us were born and raised here.
I know.
And believe it or not, some of the famous ones were going in Marshfield. Randy Travis.
There you go. Thank you.
KC and JoJo attended there for a while. And if I recall right, Fantasia Marina's father probably went to school at East Union.
Thank you.
And like I said, Randy Travis.
Yes.
And
Next up is,
you see, I didn't lose that Southern accent.
there you go. Next up is Meg Ball. Is it Bell? Bell.
Hey, I almost didn't come here tonight, but then I went home and had a good shower cry and got out and jotted something down, so bear with me. My sister died this morning. For years, I watched Alzheimer's steal her life away. Then yesterday morning, after I volunteered and I came home to the news of another school shooting, 2 students and 2 teachers killed and numerous wounded. Interviews with the surviving students praised their teachers for acting quickly and saving lives. I was really sad when I started hearing about the first week of school at Union County Public Schools. Numerous complaints on social media about teachers, vocabulary words, rainbow stickers, and bathroom assignments. I mean, y'all got to stop this. There's more important things in life. You know, life is short. And by y'all, I mean those of you who have attacked our LGBTQ kids. You're worried about rainbow lanyards, posters. You attack our Black and brown students and teachers. So please stop it. And oh, this is a good one. There's somebody concerned about whether their teachers, their kids' teachers are Democrats or not. Really, they want to vet their teachers. I have supported and fought for Union County Public Schools for years and will continue to do that. But we are here on earth temporarily. Do something meaningful to better the lives of others. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jewell. I've lived here for over 20 years. My kids are proud products of the Union County Public School System. Thanks to their teachers, they got the most amazing education. But since I've been here, I feel like the school board and the county commissioners and all the friends that are in Raleigh, because I go from the school board to the commissioner to Raleigh, they're not fighting for our public schools. Our schools are being defunded by vouchers, and a lot of the people on the boards are friends with Mothers for Liberty, who are picking these little red herrings that most of us in Union County don't care about. Vocabulary lists in the honors English programs. They're complaining on day one and calling out teachers and principals of extremely great schools here in Union County. And when people say, oh, the teachers are so bad, the books are so bad, that is so incorrect. My kids have read all those books. They've been educated here. My son is at medical school at Union County at North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And he went from ECU Honors College, and he's a freshman there in the medical school. That's unusual to not take a gap year, and it's because of his teachers. And so we're really tired of this minority group attacking our teachers and our schools because they're incredible. And most of us that have lived here over 20 years, we came here for the schools, and we love our teachers in our schools. Yeah, they're not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But we're sick of you demonizing the schools. And we're sick of the board not supporting our teachers and our schools and really fighting for Leandro, for the money, for the funding. I have friends that their kids don't have a math teacher in middle school, in high school, permanent subs, math builds. Yeah, sorry, but they don't have a math teacher for the whole school year. We need teachers. We have extreme amounts of vacancies. They're going to Fort Mill, they're going to Charmac. We're not paying our teachers. So I'm just asking the board to fight for our schools, fight for our teachers, fight for all students, and stop picking these ridiculous issues that no one cares about except for a couple small minority of people. It's ridiculous. So that's all I have to say. And thank you for serving on the board, but I really want to see action. I don't want to see like lip service anymore. Thank you.
Next up is Reagan Shaw.
All right. Hi, guys. I heard that you were siding with extremists again at the expense of our teachers, which is ridiculous. That reminds me, we have some unfinished business with 501, so you need to interpret it. If you can't interpret it within the confines of the law, you need to get rid of it. So we can talk about that another time. Here, talking about the same old, same old. Next week, there's a mini budget, I think, that's going to be tried to pass. And still haven't heard a word from this board advocating against the voucher program, which will put hundreds of millions into the private schools. That's money that's supposed to be here. That is our money. That is not money that's supposed to be going to private schools. We have teachers that need that money. We have teaching assistants that needs that money. We have counselors. We have nurses. We have bus drivers. We have students that need that money for supplies. That is our money. That is supposed to be for us. And it is going to private schools. And you guys have a responsibility to say something. You can't just sit there behind the scenes and be like, oh, yeah, we're talking to David. We're talking to Todd. Give me a break. They have already put hundreds of millions into it. This is the expansion. This is the cherry on the top, hundreds of millions. You guys failed to speak up to stop the first installment of it, and we can see the effects of it. We're losing staff every month. You know, I think it was 66 or something we lost in this past month. How many more do we have to lose? How many do we have to lose to Fort Mill? How many do we have to lose to Rock Hill? How many do we have to lose to CMS? Before you guys actually start doing your jobs and actually advocating for that money. Because you're supposed to be doing it publicly. Publicly. That is what your job is. That's what you're supposed to do. Because all of us in union need to be rising up against these politicians and saying, no, how dare you? How dare you take that money and put it in private schools? You guys are supposed to be the ones that put out the alarm to tell everybody, let's all call these guys and put pressure on them. And don't tell me you're doing backroom discussions because that's BS. That doesn't work. It's feckless. And maybe this won't pass, but the first one never should have passed in the first place. And we're going to be behind by hundreds of millions. So it's time to end the silence on this. The silence is just complicity. And all I can see is that there are a bunch of people scared of the Republican Party. And that is why school boards should not be partisan. They do not serve the needs of this county properly when they are partisan. That's all.
Next up is Jen Sanders.
Hi, everyone. We made it through the first week of school. I'd also like to just take a moment and give sadly more thoughts and prayers to the school in Georgia and all those students that were affected. I am grateful that we have SRO officers in all of our schools now, but we need to do more about mental health for our students and to protect the whole student. So, and also I'd like to say that with Apprentice Academy closing, I'm hopeful that they all find their space here in the community. I know that they're trying to do things in the background, but I do hope they're able to find their space here. So I'd also like to just address something that was on social media, and I'm sure you've heard my rant about it, so I'm not going to apologize for that. But when we have families or parents that are asking their students to take a picture of another student in a locker room so they can share it anonymously with the board, that is unacceptable. That's child trafficking. That is sexting. That is crossing so many federal laws, I can't even tell you. So when I don't know if they've sent the picture yet, but we know that there are pictures out there. I am just telling the community members that know what I'm speaking about to talk to their community members and tell them that it's against the law to take pictures of children in the locker room. So fighting for we have our budget next week, so it would be really great if you guys could publicly try to get money here for Union County. If we funded Leandro, we'd have $94 million that we could put into Union County. I do hope that the bond does pass, but that $94 million would go really far right now for Union County, particularly when our teachers are leaving. And we understand with the ESSER funds, you guys have been working around the budget trying to figure out different ways to pay the teachers and whatnot. But they're not happy. And I would just like to address something that was said at the end of the meeting last month about how our teachers, if they have a problem, to come to you guys. The issue is our teachers don't feel safe coming to you guys. They don't have a safe space to talk to you. And when I talk about safe space, you guys always assume it's for the LGBTQ community, but it's for everybody. It's for our BIPOC community. It's for our teachers. It's for everyone to have a safe space to be able to talk. And so what that means is it gives the teachers a chance to be anonymous, to tell you what's truly going on in their classes, in their classrooms, in their schools. So they feel safe to tell you, but they don't feel safe because they get reprimanded. So we've had this conversation, so I hope something changes there. But in the meantime, here's to a safe school year.
Okay, that is the end of public comments. Next up is I need a motion to approve the August 6 minutes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8-0. Next up, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. 8-0. Next up is superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as you've heard, tonight we are in week 2, and I want to commend all of our schools, our teachers, our staff, our students, and our school leaders who are doing an absolutely tremendous job. On day 1, we had the chance to visit at least one school across every feeder pattern, and teachers are already jumping in and talking about culture, expectations. Our schools have held safety meetings with their resource officers to make sure our students understand the rules and expectations. And I want to give a big shout out to our maintenance and facilities teams. If you drive around Union County and look at how prime our campuses are, our facilities are, if you walk into the buildings, our facilities team has done an outstanding getting ready for the opening of school. So I want to say a big thank you to them. And finally, a big thank you to our transportation team. We know that back to school means buses are running, logistics have to be worked out. Usually by the time we get to post Labor Day, we've figured those kinds of things out. So to our Director of Transportation and to our transportation team, job well done. There is an election on November the 5th, and yes, we have another bond referendum on the ballot. Union County residents will vote on a $39 million bond project that will address aging facilities at Parkwood High School and East Union Middle School. The bond will invest pre-construction dollars for a new Parkwood High School and a construction project that will relocate East Union to the current Forest Hills High campus. And this bond relies on commitments and builds on previous commitments and investments to better provide modern schools for our students. We will hold various community meetings this month and in October to share information about the bond and to address frequently asked questions. This information is all on our website, so please take a look at the school bond section at the top of the homepage, and we will see you at the polls. And finally, on a more somber note, I also want to offer condolences to the families, students, administrators, and community members that were impacted by the school shooting in Appalachia High School. It is extremely sad that we're talking about this again. And I really want to stress that during this time, it is extremely important for all of us to be reminded of our safety plans and all of our resources. I want to reiterate again to our students, to our staff, to our communities, if you see something, say something. There are many ways that you can report information, whether or not you think it's a rumor or hearsay or fact, report it. If you become aware of a situation that does not seem right to you, use our Say Something reporting platform. Contact your child's SRO or principal. We take this stuff very seriously in Union County Public Schools. Today, we debriefed that situation with all 53 principals for over 30 minutes. Immediately after any one of these national issues hits, our safety team, led by Jared McCraw, immediately the next day debriefs that situation with law enforcement leadership. We plan to have this on our next safety committee agenda. And I just want to reiterate that the safety and well-being of all of our kids in all of our schools is an absolute priority. Our relationship with law enforcement has never been stronger, and we take our safety and security protocols very seriously. And I want to finally say that we are all doubling down on our commitment to ensure that all of our children receive a high-quality education in an academically safe environment and in a physically safe environment each and every day. That is our commitment to our kids, and that is our commitment to you as parents and community members. Again, I offer my condolences, and let's do all that we can to ensure that we don't have that tragedy in Union County Public Schools. Board members, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is accountability update, Dr. Tyson and Mr. Schleider.
All right,
Did I get it right? Did I get it right?
Schleider, you got it right. Yeah, good job. All right, on a more positive note, many school systems across the state yesterday released their accountability updates from 2023-24. We chose not to because we have our school board meeting tonight, and we always like to publicly provide our board and the public with that on the day of the meeting. Tonight, you're going to hear some results from last year when it comes to the academic performance of the district. We will not be getting into individual schools for the most part, but I do want to say what you're about to see really points to continued indicators that Union County Public Schools is remaining and sustaining our ability to be the highest performing large district in the state of North Carolina. And I think you're going to be very impressed with the data that you see. So thank you to our team for being here tonight, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Tyson.
So yes, good evening, board members. And of course, yesterday, the state board did do a presentation to highlight state level data. And of course, we are here tonight. Dr. Schleider, the Director of Research and Accountability, he's going to come forward. He's going to present to you the data for Union County Public Schools. I think you will see there is a great deal for us to be very, very proud of in Union County Public Schools completely across our district. There's a lot of celebrations, but as always, if we want to continue to strive to be the best and the best school district in North Carolina, we have to pursue continual improvement. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Dr. Schleider. He'll go through a PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll answer questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tyson. Good evening, board members, Dr. Houlihan, Ms. Morris. The first slide on the PowerPoint basically just addresses the release of the data across the state by the Department of Public Instruction. The link is there for the official release. That link includes spreadsheets that provide all of the data for all the North Carolina schools, including proficiency results, growth results, as well as school performance grades across the state. An overview of the presentation, I'll briefly go over the North Carolina accountability model, get into details about some of our academic results, as well as school performance grades, move a little bit out of the accountability world to go over some non-accountability performance indicators for the district, and then wrap up with key accomplishments and our next steps. So just a brief overview of the North Carolina accountability model. This slide provides just an overview of all of the assessments that are administered at the end of each school year at the elementary level, the middle school level, and the high school. Our end of grade assessments are included in there, as well as things like English learner progress, the EOCs, end of course exams at the high school, the ACT assessment, ACT work keys assessment, math course rigor, of course, our cohort graduation rate, as well as EVOS growth. And I'll go into more detail about what each one of those are as we start getting into some of the numbers. With regard to end of grade tests and end of course tests and scoring, kids are either scored as non-proficient, which was previously kids who scored at level 1 and level 2. Those are lumped together now into non-proficient, or kids score as proficient. And there are two ways that we kind of pull together proficiency numbers. The first one, which is the more common one, is what's called grade level proficient, or GLP. It's what you'll hear me talk about the most in this presentation. That is kids who score at achievement level 3 or higher on end of grade tests and end of course tests. It represents sufficient command of subject matter and is really used mostly by the state of North Carolina for reporting proficiency. You'll also see some numbers that reflect career and college readiness, or CCR. That is the percentage of kids who score at level 4 and higher on end of grade tests and end of course tests. It suggests that the student is on track to be college and career ready upon graduation, and is mostly used at the federal level for their reporting of proficiency. So you'll see some numbers that I present to you. Most of the numbers that I'll present to you are GLP, grade level proficient, level 3 and higher. Some are CCR, level 4 and higher, and I'll explain which ones are which when we get to them. Jumping into academic results, the actual data. I'm well aware that our schools are into the 24-25 school year. Please pardon me if I refer to the data in here as this year from the 23-24 school year. It just helps with comparison to previous years. I'm not crazy. I know we're in the 24-25 school year. It just makes it a little bit easier. All right, overall, this is our end of grade and end of course data with regard to overall proficiency. You can see the column on the right-hand side are the North Carolina state numbers. The column in the middle are our UCPS numbers. 4 things to point out about this. That bottom row, you see our overall proficiency from a GLP, or grade level proficient standpoint, is 69.5%. That number is higher than the same number the previous year, 69.3. That number is a 6.5 percentage point higher than the same number back in 2021. All of the numbers in that column for the Union County Public Schools are higher than the state numbers on the far right-hand column. That 69.5% or overall proficiency is the highest in the 12 largest districts in the state. And that 69.5 is the second highest in the state overall. The highest district in the state had a overall proficiency that was only 0.3 of a point higher than the Union County Public Schools overall proficiency for EOGs and EOCs. The next chart just basically shows the same data as previously, the GLP data showing the progress that we've made across the 4 years, as well as in comparison to the state data, which is there in orange. Breaking down those data now further into an individual grade levels and subjects, you've got elementary data on this next screen. There are three ways really to look at the data points that are on here. If you look at math in fifth grade, okay, toward the right-hand side, you can see from last year to this year, that grade level increased proficiency by 1.7 percentage points. If you look a little farther to the left, you'll notice when looking at fourth grade reading, proficiency went down from last year from 68% down to 65.3%. However, those are fourth graders this year. If you look back at that same cohort as third graders the prior year, you'll see a 5.7% increase in percentage from 59.6 up to 65.3%. The third way to kind of look at these data is looking across the 23-24 school year in comparison to where we were 4 years ago in 2021. You'll notice a 12.8 percentage point increase in third grade math and a 12.2 percentage point increase in fifth grade math, as well as other increases. Same data for middle school. And again, I'll just jump right to the increases from the 2021 school year. Sixth grade math increased 11.3 percentage points over the course of that time. And eighth grade math increased 11.4%. Sixth grade reading increased 4.1% over that time span as well. Looking for up to the high school, we did see decreases from last year to this year on our EOCs, end of course exams in Math 1, Math 3, and Biology. However, if you do look at the numbers in comparison to the 2021 school year, Math 1 is up 8.1 percentage points, Math 3 is up 7.7, and Biology is up 3.9 percentage points from 2021. Additional indicators that we look at the high school level, the ACT is administered to all of our 11th graders, and you can see an increase there. You see asterisks next to the 69.1% from the 2021 school year. That is a drop from 69% to the following year, 57.6, but that is not an actual decrease in student proficiency. That is when the state changed their benchmark for proficiency from 17 up to 19. So that drop there is not actual student performance. And if you look from 57.6% in the 21-22 school year up to 60.4% this current school year. ACT Work Keys is administered to all of our 12th graders who are CTE concentrators. Math course rigor reflects the percentage of kids who take and pass Math 3 at the high school level. And our cohort graduation rate, which is the number of kids or the percentage of kids who start ninth grade in a given year and graduate within 4 years, was 93.3, which is the highest we've had in Union County Public Schools since this accountability model started, a full percentage point higher than it was the previous school year. Overall school performance grades. The model for school performance grades is built using 80% the school's the proficiency from the school, as well as 20% the growth index from the school. Combined gives you the school performance grade, which is on an A through F scale with a 15-point difference for each. The proficiency composite, like I said, from the state level, the proficiency composite is grade level proficiency or achievement levels 3 and higher. There's also different proficiency rates for other indicators such as ACT and cohort graduation rate. EVOS growth is an indication of the rate with which students have learned over the past school year for the school as a whole. The standard is roughly equivalent to a year's worth of academic growth for a year's worth of instruction. Based on those calculations, each school is given a designation of either exceeded, met, or did not meet their expected growth. With regard to EVOS growth, we saw 44 out of our 50 schools, or 88% of schools, either met or exceeded growth. Only 6 of our schools did not meet expected growth. And Dr. Houlihan asked specifically for a slide which showcased the fact that 100% of our high schools either met or exceeded growth. That's the pie chart on the bottom right.
That has never happened before.
That's awesome. Yeah.
With regard to school performance grades, we saw 42 out of our 50 schools, or 84%, score a school performance grade of an A, a B, or a C. We only had 8 schools that scored a D or an F. And again, just another slide to break down elementary versus middle versus high school levels there. Low-performing schools as designated by the state. We had 7 schools this year that were considered low-performing.
So one thing I do want to point out, I'm going to ask Matt to pause here. So you saw on the previous slide that there were 8 schools listed as D or F. North Carolina identifies you as low-performing if you are a D or F school. But now we have 7 identified as low-performing schools. So what's the school that was a D rating or an F but is not listed as low-performing? If you exceed growth in North Carolina, you're automatically taken off that list. Our accountability model was kind of born in 2014. That was a decade ago and has not changed. Since the very beginning of the inception of that model, East Union Middle School has been rated low performing for 10 consecutive years until now. For the first time ever, East Union is not a low performing school. So you're probably asking, who are we clapping to? So Mr. Jared Gatewood, who is entering his 2nd year as the principal, and his members of his team. Congratulations to East Union. The other historical part, for the first time also in a decade, there are 0 rated low-performing schools in the entire Forest Hills cluster. That has never happened before. So tomorrow, to our board members, tomorrow morning, if you're able to join us, we will be having a staff celebration around 8 o'clock at East Union. I plan to attend and give a few remarks, or we can celebrate with the entire staff and really thank our educators and our leaders for the work and the job well done. So congratulations to our team at East Union Middle School.
Congratulations, Mr. Gatewood. A few non-accountability indicators that we just want to brag on. This is one a data point that we look at each year. This is the number of CTE, or Career and Technical Education, CTE concentrators. This is the number of credentials that are earned by our students. 13,161 CTE credentials earned, which is a 31% increase from the same number back in the 2021 school year. AP exams. We significantly or considerably increased the number of AP exams provided to students, 7,200 this year, well far above the 5,300 4 years ago. As well as the passing rate at 74% for those exams. Typically, when we considerably increase the percentage of kids who are taking those AP exams, the pass rate would typically decrease. That's not what we saw. We saw the passing rate stay the same and then increase considerably above that. Early K2 reading proficiency. These are our M-class assessments. You can see here we've got kindergarten data in blue, first grade data in green, and second grade data in purple. We've got BOY, which is beginning of the year data, EOY, which is end of the year data, showing the growth of kids from the beginning of the year to the end of the year in each grade. The bars represent Union County Public Schools data. The lines represent the state data. And you can see we continuously outperform the state numbers, and we ended the year with 76 to 80% of our K2 students reading proficiently. When looking also then at the numbers from the previous school year, you can see we're up then at each grade level as well. Key accomplishments and next steps. First off, 84% of our schools earned a school performance grade of A, B, or C, which is similar number-wise to last school year. 88% of our schools met or exceeded expected growth, which is up from 84% last school year. And again, that represents 100% of our high schools. Early or K2 reading proficiency data is consistently well above the state levels, at or approaching 80% of the students. And a couple of the data points which are the highest in UCPS history: the total number of CTE credentials earned, the AP exams taken, and the pass rate, as well as our cohort graduation rate. This is my favorite slide. Key accomplishments. In comparison to the 12 largest districts in the state, Union County Public Schools ranked the highest on the following: all of the reading EOGs combined across grades 3 through 8, all of the math EOGs combined across 3 through 8, and all the science EOGs combined across grades 5 and 8. All of the EOGs 3 through 8 combined, all of the EOCs, grades 9 through 12 combined, and all of the EOGs and EOCs combined. That's that overall proficiency number that I told you earlier. Also highest in the 12 largest districts in the state, the ACT proficiency rate, the work keys proficiency rate, and the ACT/work keys combined indicator for school performance grades. English learner progress was the highest of those large 12 districts, as well as the 4-year and the 5-year cohort graduation rate. In comparison then to all of the districts in the state, Union County Public Schools ranked number 2 on that overall proficiency of all EOGs and EOCs combined. Number 2 only to Chapel Hill, Carrboro, but we were only behind by 0.3 of a point. And our ACT proficiency was number 2, again, behind Chapel Hill, Carrboro schools. So our next steps are really just to continue furthering to increase the overall grade level proficiency that we increased this year, to further decrease the number of schools that did not meet expected growth, to further decrease the number of schools identified as low performing. And the method by which to do that is continuing the district's turnaround plan for the schools that we've identified as focus schools for the 24-25 school year.
So I'll just provide a few closing remarks. Number one, thank you, Dr. Slider, for the presentation. And again, I want to reiterate and commend our educators and our leaders and our students for a job well done. We take a lot of pride in being the best, and it's hard to sustain that work. But I want all of you to know that we are very, very proud of the work from last year, but also recognize the need to get even better. We are never going to be complacent because we have that many sets of high expectations. But we delivered in a lot of ways last year academically, both on the accountability side and the non-accountability side. It's hard to stay at the top, but we do a pretty good job of doing that. So thank you again. We'll be glad to open it up to board member comments or questions.
Well, first a comment. Great job, everybody. Second of all, I don't believe this presentation was attached.
It is now.
It is now. Okay,
Yes, it
thanks.
is. Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. No, that's it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up is the after-school program update.
So good evening, members of the board, Dr. Houlihan, Ms. Morris. Just want to give you a quick update after an email I sent last week with another update on the after-school program. We are currently operating an after-school program at 14 of our elementary school sites. We're serving 822 students, and we currently have 213 on a waiting list. We are, in addition to having the program at these 14 sites, 7 of those sites also take students from other elementary schools, or it's a total of 11 elementary schools, which leaves us with about 5 elementary schools that don't currently have access to a UCPS after-school program. We have some initiatives in place. We've worked closely with our HR department, and a big shout out to them. Since the end of last school year, we've dropped our vacancy rates from 17 to 7. A lot of collaboration between the HR department and our after-school staff, specifically in the way that we're posting jobs. A lot of big help from some social media platforms that have allowed us to significantly increase the number of applicants that we're getting for these positions. We're actively pursuing expanding this program with the ultimate goal of having them at all of our elementary schools. We are currently, the vacancies that we have are a result, and what happens with those vacancies, we're not violating any of our licensing requirements. We are, our site coordinators are doing teacher responsibilities instead of focusing on the site coordinator. So it takes away from that coordinator piece of what they're doing. So that's how we're managing to stay within compliance. We do plan to, well, we're currently in discussions with two of our elementary schools, Rayview Elementary and Antioch Elementary, for additional space and working with HR to increase the staffing needs. So we're hoping to find some additional space at both of those schools where we can stay in compliance and maintain that, increase the capacity of those programs. We are also planning to open 2 new sites at 2 elementary schools by the beginning of next school year, with the short-term goal of hopefully having them open before the second semester. That requires some the licensing to be completed. That's typically a 3 to 6 month process, but we have started that process to try to get that licensing. Glad to answer any questions you may have about our after-school program.
Where does the licensing, or who provides the licensing for?
It's a state licensing.
State?
Yep.
Along with on the subject of licensing, one of the requirements is the student versus teacher ratio. So that's why you have waiting lists. If you don't have adequate staff, you can't just keep adding kids until the building's full, correct?
That's correct.
And the after-school program is organized as an enterprise fund. Local funding does not go into the program. So it is self-sufficient, is the idea. It's self-sufficient in that if there are additional costs for whatever reason, as a means to attract more employees, then the system itself has to cover those expenses. It's not something that we can go to the county and ask for additional funding to cover that, correct?
That's correct.
So it must be self-sufficient. And there are guidelines as far as staff. You don't just take anybody who walks off the street and decides they want to be an after school, correct? Are
you applying for a job? we would welcome.
No, I got rid of all mine, so
yes, you are. That is correct. There are strict requirements on the licensing certifications that you may have to be both a site coordinator and a group leader. That's correct.
So it's not just easy to say, it's not feasible to say, look, we've got a big waiting list. Let's just throw in 10 more kids and see what we can do. It is as a part of a license, you must have adequate staff. They must be approved staff. They must be trained. And there must be space
Exactly.
for the
Yes.
students.
The space has to be licensed as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Before you tonight, we have some policies and administrative guidelines for review. There's 2 revisions to existing policies, 3 revisions to administrative guidelines, and 1 proposed new policy. If anyone has any questions about them, I will try and answer. All right, thank you.
Greetings, Madam Chair. I believe it was last board meeting or board meeting before last. I can't remember which one. But, heard in public comments, I heard a comment that some of the teachers are yet feeling unsure about sharing what they feel. And I'll say now, as I said then, if you make that decision not to share, we can't do anything about it. If you make that decision to tell somebody else about how bad it is or how you feel, and then say you feel unsafe to share it with someone else, again, we can't help you until we can only help when you break that cycle of perceived fear. And I say perceived because everyone on this board and this staff is waiting for any problems that you feel exist. And until you make that decision to talk to us and not anybody else, you yet have the same problem. But on a brighter note, thank you to all the accountability, great readings, great job, East Union, and I'm looking forward to a great school year.
I have just a comment and just expressing a bit of frustration with the constant berating. I guess I come on here and I'm a mom. I'm just a mom. I'm not the most well-spoken person. Y'all know that. I've been up there behind the podium doing the same thing. And I'm just a mom and I'm just a regular person. But it just blows my mind that we get the same thing every single time, that we don't care and we don't do this. And you're nodding your head, that's grand. But, it just blows my mind because you're out there, you're out in your public and you're bashing us. You're saying that most of us here are pretty much are calling all of us or most of us here racist and saying that we're bigots or because, we're a partisan board. It is what it is. If you don't like it, go run for office. That's just, okay, great. And I'll see you at the polls in November. But the fact that, it just blows my mind that you're the constant berating us, saying that we're up here. Does this look like we're all just one? We're a diverse board. I'm Latin American. I am a first generation American citizen raised by immigrant parents. There's nothing there's nothing wrong here. I mean, I don't understand. You don't like my politics. I don't come up there. I don't bash your politics. I don't really care. But the fact that you care that I'm out there talking to Abigail or whoever, it blows my mind. Who cares? I don't get it. That's what bothers me. It just drives me insane that you sit there and you can go on for 12 minutes going on about this. Once again, you don't like it, run for office, and you do see if it works out for you and see how it works different for you. But we do the best that we can. We do fight for our students. We do fight for every student. LGBTQ, not yours? Yeah, we do. Not the black people? Okay, well, that is what you say every single time. But you don't have to respond. I didn't speak when you were speaking, so please, okay? So this is what we do. We do everything we can. And I just feel the need these are my comments, and this is what I feel the need to say. I think I'm sick and tired of it. And it just irritates me because it's like every single time you guys come up here and you're like, oh my God, you don't do this and you don't speak out. We do speak out. That's why I'm here. And, but like I said, I just wanted to share my view on it. And again, you don't like my politics? What's new? That's my politics. And that's why I ran. And that's why I'm sitting right here. And that's why the people in my district voted for me. And that's why I'm standing here representing them. And it is what it is. And like I said, I hope everyone has a great year. And that's all I wanted to say. And thanks. That's all. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Thank you.
Madam Chair, first of all, yeah, I love you too. I have quite a few notes, but I first want to congratulate, and I hate that Mr. Gatewood has left, but to hear the great things that the Forest Hills cluster has accomplished, it really kind of gives me a moment of sadness in a good way, not sadness, but tears of joy. Let me say that, especially being a product of the Forest Hills cluster, and to know how hard the faculty and the staff work to serve students and to teach them, not getting paid what they deserve. Because being a teacher, being an educator, I don't care if you are a custodian or a principal. You are part of that staff helping to make sure that the culture of that school is second to none. And people still to this day do not appreciate the work in public school, and they do not feel that it's needed to support them financially. And I do. And after tonight, I'm going to really do some more digging on how I can become more vocal to make sure that they hear my voice, and knowing that public school educators need to be funded what they need to live a livable wage. Everyone who does not go into education, it's not because they don't love teaching, but living in 2024 and trying to find affordable housing can be a challenge with the salary that a lot of our teachers have. And I really pray for them because I don't understand how they do it with children and things of that nature. So we must continue to really fight for that. I hear the public comments on tonight, and I've been on this board for a couple of years, and I don't allow public comments to frustrate me as I did when I first got on here, because I understand that our board is not as diverse as we may think. And just to put it out there, I'm the only Democrat on the board. And so I don't know if you knew that, Sandra, sister. Okay, all right. And I remember during the time of COVID that I was very vocal on my stance. And my colleagues, we sat on opposite aisles, and there were many times that individuals would come and share their concerns and their complaints specifically toward me, along with emails and even some mail that I received in my mailbox. And so I understand that when individuals are passionate about their stance, that we all have to have tough skin, because it's wonderful. The biggest room in the whole wide world is the room of improvement. And we have done well academically, and we continue to do well academically. But I think someone said today, when children are going to school and individuals are not socially, but mentally off to the point where they feel that it is okay to go into the schools and to shoot, to kill, to injure individuals, there are so many things that we need to put our focus on. And when we really understand that we are serving all students from all backgrounds who may not always think the way that we would want them to think for whatever reasons. And when we focus on making sure that we serve them, give them a culture that they will be able to learn, to succeed. I think that is what a lot of some of our comments are focusing on, making sure that we serve all of our students. In order for us to improve the status of these low-performing schools, it's going to take community to be involved and to serve the kids, to serve the families, and to serve the faculty and the staff. So I encourage individuals to come and to make public comments, to share how you feel, if I like it or not, because there will be a time where individuals will come and I may not like what they have to say. But it is a part of me being on this board that I am to hear them. Now, what I do with it is on me. But when we really understand the bigger picture of serving all students, no matter their background, no matter where they come from, no matter what they desire, choose to be in life, and we make sure that when they walk through these doors, that they receive an education and they are able to effectively go out into the community and be a product of integrity and to be a product of morality I think that is what we need to focus on. And so I commend each and every one of you for the work that you do, this board, the teachers, the faculty, and the staff. And I really, really, really look forward to seeing us improve, not just academically, but socially, so that our kids will be the best they can be. So thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Announcements from board members?
The Strategic Planning, Information Technology, and Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled to meet September 25th at 8 a.m. via Zoom.
We have policy on September 17th at 8 a.m. via Zoom.
Facilities is meeting September 25th at 9 a.m. via Zoom, and then curriculum will follow at 10 a.m. via Zoom.
Finance, we're not sure if we need one yet, but if we do, it'll be on the 24th, 8 o'clock via Zoom.
Anything else? I need a motion to
So
adjourn.
move, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Drew, you want me